welcome to my 4th episode of my Thinking Out Loud podcast with Samantha Leah. My name is Samantha Leah. I am a singer and a songwriter, and I am also very, very interested in learning about exploring consciousness and expanding my own consciousness as well as others. So I woke up in the middle of the night with this phrase in my head. It was, don't just know better, be better. And I love it. I love it because I know from my own experience that I'm way better at giving advice than taking my own for the most part. And I think that a lot of people are that way, and I think it's time to put an end to that. Don't just know better, be better. And a lot of this stems off of what we were talking about in the last episode, which I definitely recommend. The summary of that episode is basically that none of our thoughts are actually a secret. They're all affecting the collective consciousness, and because they're affecting the collective consciousness, they're also affecting the events in the collective, because if thoughts turn into things, which we can all agree on, if you're listening to this, you probably know about the law of attraction. You probably know that whatever you think about becomes things on that same frequency come into your life. So if we can all agree that our own personal thoughts turn into real manifestations in our real, 5 senses, you could see it with your own 2 eyes. They become something solid in this physical realm. Then we can agree that if all of us, the billions of us, are having similar frequency thoughts, then we are going to manifest things of that frequency on a global level, on a larger scale, larger events. So this is very important, as we can see in our current reality. It's very important to know that. And this is kind of just stemming off of that. And I would just like to get into specific examples. Like I was thinking about road rage and how we feel, or I feel, that because I'm in a separate vehicle, I'm in the car by myself, and if someone cuts me off and I say, go bleep yourself, again, I'm trying to stick to, not having to put explicit content on here. So, go bleep yourself. So I think most of us have experienced road rage before. And the thing about it is we really need to look more deeply into that, because it's really crazy that we just so naturally we say really mean things in that moment. And I understand, because we're caught off guard. But going back to this whole, there is no secret thoughts, no secret frequencies that you're emitting. It's not a secret. It's actually going out into the collective consciousness. These are the types of things you need to look out for, because these are the types of moments where we think that our thoughts are a secret, where we think that nobody will ever find out. But actually, these are the moments, now that we are all getting more specific in our spirituality. If you're here and you're listening to this, you most likely have been doing this for a while. You know about this stuff. You care about the way that you feel. So now we need to go into specifics, because these are the types of situations where we feel it's okay to do that. Because, he came out, it's his fault. these are the moments where we need to watch ourselves, because this is where our ego will step in and claim control over us. It's in these moments, because we allow it to happen, because we say, oh, well, it makes sense why I got mad. And then you defend your ego, basically. There has to be a better way. Now, we could get real into it, and we can say that once we master that, most likely, once we master, for instance, road rage, there will not have to be any more experiences where cars are coming out of nowhere and we have to experience the road rage to then get to a point where we are today, where we are saying to ourselves, okay, I need to do better. Because life will throw lessons in your face over and over again until you finally learn them. So it's best to finally learn the lesson so that we can move on to the next challenges, the next lessons that life is going to bring us, that we can kiss those other ones goodbye that we've been in for so long. For road rage, for me, I've experienced road rage since I began driving. And I would like to put that one to rest and move on. So that is a really good example of a moment where we think that we are alone, and we just are so defensive over, oh, well, he came out at me. It's like we go back into that little child mindset of, well, he took my toy. Notice that. Notice the inner child that is still living within you and still coming out in certain experiences. Notice the immaturity level. Well, he did it. Well, he came out first. Well, he cut me off. Notice that immaturity level, and notice how that sticks with you throughout your life, no matter how old you get, if you never learn the lesson in there. If you never learn the lesson. And actually, I've been speaking to my inner child recently when the inner child comes out. For instance, when I'm in the car and someone cuts me off, and I have to speak to the inner child and say, it's okay. Like, it's going to be okay. We can move on now. We can know our place. We can know that all we have is love to give, and we can move on now. We don't have to carry this out longer than it has to go. Notice how you'll be sitting in the car and you'll be like, yeah, but I can't believe that guy did that. And it's minutes later. You don't even know where the car is anymore, and you're still thinking about it. Notice that. Notice how the ego draws you in, because these are the things that we have to start noticing. We have to start noticing those those experiences where we deem them acceptable. Those are the ones that we need to look at and say, well, no, that is unacceptable, because now for those 10 minutes that I'm in the car imagining if me and the person got out of the car and started fighting, now we are emitting that frequency, and we are going to manifest something later down the line, something in our lives that brings that frequency back to us. Not to mention, it doesn't feel good. But apart from that, again, like I said, it's going into the collective consciousness, and it is not helping the cause, because we are the ones who are conscious. We are the ones who are awake. We are the ones who are self-aware, and we need to take responsibility, because there are many, many people who are not yet aware, and we need to serve as examples. And the best way to serve as an example is to be the advice that we give. Now, you maybe one day you're in the car with a friend who is experiencing road rage, and you look at how it takes over him or her, and you're like, oh my God, like, chill. So we could give that advice to others so easily, but what about when we are in the driver's seat and it happens to us? These are the experiences that we have to really look out for. So we have to be that change that we wish to experience in the world. And another thing that we need to learn how to do is to be more authentic. We need to be who we are. We need to be more honest with ourselves. And although it's uncomfortable, when you're honest with yourself, you are following your guidance. And your guidance will bring you the people, the places, the experiences that you want to see in your life. So, for example, if somebody asks you to go out to eat, your friend, and you truly inside feel, I'm tired, like I really don't want to go out, but because you feel like you owe something, but because you want to be nice, whatever the reason is, you say, yes, let's go out. Now, I'm sure a lot of us are used to doing this, are used to doing things that we don't want to do. And we became used to doing that. And what we need to realize is that we aren't following our guidance when we do that. And it might not seem so important, but I'm here to tell you that it is. When you are your most authentic self, you live in your highest timeline. So you don't know what you were missing out on by following your heart. If you were to stay home instead and relax and put yourself in a place where you wanted to be, if you were in a higher vibration because you decided, you know what, I'm going to say the truth. I don't want to go out and I'm going to stay home. Now, you don't know what type of experiences could have come your way through that. Maybe you put yourself in such a high vibration that you would have received a phone call that you've been waiting for. Maybe you would have put yourself in such a high vibration that you would have went onto your email and seen an email about a new job offer that is in complete resonance with you. And I'm not saying that going out is you know, that something bad is going to happen because you didn't follow your heart. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is it's these small changes that make gigantic life differences. It's the small things that make these huge differences in your life. It's always the small things. It's the small patterns. Because if you think about it, we dumb that down and we say, oh, well, it's fine. I'll go out. Yeah, I don't want to, but I've done it before. I'll be fine. Do you realize what you're saying when you say that? You're putting your self-worth down. You're putting your comfort, your own guidance system to the side, and you're saying, yeah, but whatever. We need to analyze these small choices that we make, because you will feel so much lighter and so much more free if you're following your bliss, if you're following your heart. And we don't realize all the time that it's these smaller tendencies, it's these small, seemingly small patterns. That's not a small pattern. Choosing what you believe is the other person's, choosing the perspective of the other person and their well-being, or what you believe it to be, over yourself and your own guidance system, that's not a small pattern. That's a huge deal that you're doing that. And it's a huge deal that it's now become normalized for you. It shouldn't be normalized that you choose everybody before yourself, is what I'm trying to say. And yet it is. So it's these small little things that you don't realize are actually not so small at all. And that's what I'm trying to get through with this episode is it's these things that we just think are little moments in our day. Little moments in our day, for instance, being in the car and being upset for those 10 minutes. It's those little things that we now have to look at. For instance, going out when you didn't want to. And hey, maybe you had a good time. I'm not saying that isn't possible. But what I'm saying is, what about next time? Next time the offer comes around, how about next time you go with your heart? You go with what your bliss tells you to do. You go with what your guidance system tells you to do. Why don't you try that? Why don't you be yourself more often? Because we all walk around with these masks on. These masks. So many masks that hide who we truly are. Because we're so afraid of being who we are, especially with people who we've known for a while. So we have these little personalities with each person. If you go to work, you're one person. If you go to school, you're one person. If you're with your friend from childhood, you're one person. If you're around your family, you're another person. And what we need to do is we need to start breaking down these outer layers of who we actually aren't. And we need to start living from our true and authentic self. When you live from your true and authentic self, you are being who you are meant to be, and you are getting closer to fulfilling your purpose. You can't fulfill your purpose wholeheartedly. Your God-given, source-given, universe-given, soul-given purpose. You cannot fulfill it wholeheartedly if you are busy being other people. If you are busy catering to the needs of other people. If you're busy caring about the well-being of other people more so than yourself. So we just need to start to look at these seemingly smaller experiences that we go through, because most of us, if you're listening to this, and especially if you've gotten this far into it, you've probably already understood a lot of the general principles of, how to make your life better. But so now we need to look more at the smaller, seemingly smaller things that go on in our life, where we really got to break down those habits, those conditions in our mind. We really need to start breaking them down. So that's all I got for you today. And I do hope you're having a wonderful day. And I will talk to you again soon.